Welcome to Corrective Consciousness, episode 249, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And another beautiful, beauticious, bodacious show for all of our listeners out there in YouTube land, and Soundcloud land, and iTunes land. And any more lands?
The Land of the Lost?
And the Land of the Lost. Sid and Mari Croft. And we have another wonderful show here having to do with our favorite action titles, specifically in film. I was inspired here, if you go back to our discussion at the end of Reactive Consciousness earlier this week. I really enjoyed the film Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, and that certainly was had a lot of inspiration from and like even staff in common with the John Wick movies. So I just was reinvigorated into talking about amazing action films. So I just wanted to put out some of my favorites, and of course, go over some more obscure ones if I can. I mean, at the top of the list, of course, I'm going to talk about Die Hard. It's like the prototypical action film, if you ask me. If you want to show somebody an action film, probably like Die Hard is the perfect example, if you ask me.
It also has, as far as I'm aware, hands down the greatest sequel titling formula. Like, second place is probably the Fast and the Furious. Weird bullshit.
F9 is the most recent one, by the way.
Well, that's kind of weak, isn't it?
None of them have been like F8 or like it's just F9, which is
there's
the
Fast 5.
Yeah.
Fate of the Furious was the actual word and not F8, which I was very disappointed by.
I mean, that's what they meant, though. I mean,
it is, but come on, lean into it. But Die Hard is awesome. Die Hard 2, Die Harder, that's fucking great. Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Live Free or Die Hard, that's great. I forgot what the fifth one's called. Does that have some name?
A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, again, very good. Yeah. That's great. The movie sucks, but that's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, a lot of the movies on this list have, pretty damn good sequels. So the franchises that I decided to talk about, like Die Hard, I would say the first four movies are actually pretty all right. You're gonna have a good time.
The fourth one's all right. It's pretty good. 1, 2, and 3 are fantastic.
The fourth one just has some good moments, you know.
It does.
And
it also has the Mac guy. What's his name? Justin Long.
Justin Long is very charismatic. So I
just
like
love
Justin
how
Long.
He's the secondary protagonist next to fucking giant man Bruce Willis. He's like, what do I do with this situation?
He also has one of the funniest lines in history ever of a movie. Just watch Zack and Miri make a porno. That movie's hilarious. But
I don't know that line.
Funny,
but what I do like in Live Free or Die Hard was there was a part where Justin Long was going to take Bruce Willis to see his super nerd friend, played by Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh no, Bruce Willis is a friend of mine. We know each other. Sure, he's definitely not a cop who's gonna throw you off your game." And the guy was like, "Oh really? You're some kind of nerd? Who's this guy?" And he points to this giant cardboard standee of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And Bruce Willis tries to play it off. He's like, "Well, I don't know. I'm more of a Star Wars guy." It's like, all right, fuck this.
But that's actually where Kevin Smith and Justin Long first met, I think. And
nice.
And he made Zack and Miri, Kevin Smith and put Justin Long in it. But that I can't in good conscience say it on we have a little bit of cursing in this podcast, but this what he says is explicit and not for the show. But if you're interested, go watch the movie. It's surprisingly sweet romantic comedy despite its name. So, but anyway, I love the Die Hard movies and always have. I have a tradition of watching Die Hard on Christmas Eve with and now I do it with my wife. I'm not one of those annoying
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I roll my eyes every time.
I'm not one of those annoying it's the best Christmas movie. I I have a bunch of movies that I really like around Christmas time. Home Alone 1 and 2, Die
Yeah, those
Hard.
are very, very good.
Die Hard and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation are all my favorites. Now Elf is. I never saw Elf before my wife had shown me it, and it's really good. Jon Favreau movie, by the way. So really quite good. But I I just love Die Hard. It was one of the first rated R movies I watched when I was a kid, and I was always like really fascinated by movies that had a a series attached to it. So like I was going to the video store and going into the horror section, for instance, and seeing
Yeah,
like
all the Child's Play movies.
yeah, all the Child's Play movies or all the Friday the 13th movies was a pretty awesome thing, like for me to wonder about, like all these rated R movies with a continuity. It like God knows he went to hell in this one. He went to Manhattan
Jason
in this
goes
one.
to hell.
Yeah,
And then you see that one copy of The Good Son, and you're like, wait, a rated R horror movie starring Macaulay Culkin? What the fuck? And then you never actually watch it, and you're like, what was that?
And
for
Elijah
like 20
Wood
years?
And Elijah Wood of all people too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Elijah Wood went to the dark side. He was a villain in Sin City.
Yeah, that is true, and the creepiest villain in the entire thing.
He was so cool though, but he was so fucked up.
And he's great as that character. He played him just right because
he was one of the characters from Hellsing with that pure silhouette but the glowy glasses lenses.
Yeah, the first time I had seen that,
cannot stop drawing characters like that.
The first time I had seen that was in Sailor Moon had a villain like that.
Oh yeah, but that's not. Oh no, they did. That's right. No, I was gonna say like 100 anime have characters that push the glasses up and they do the shine thing, but no, you're right. Sailor Moon had that mad scientist guy who's just always in silhouette.
Yeah. No, he did the Dr. Claw thing that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, Die Hard is just one of those ubiquitous movies. It just it is like the perfect thing. It's a realistic kind of situation, and an underdog, like not superhero-esque, action star.
And he's trying to save his wife, but they're kind of estranged.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this movie is that it came out during a time of like super like macho movies, like starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone. So like even though he's a strong guy, he is like on the shorter side of those guys, and he's not a bodybuilder.
And he's also not beating up 100 guys.
No,
like, that's ridiculous.
He
like
can
it's
fight
fun to
one
watch,
guy,
but it's
most.
absurd.
He can fight one guy at most at a time, which is what would normally happen in a real situation.
And when it's someone like Carl, that fight does not go well.
Yeah, exactly. There are several bad guys that outmatch him.
And I don't mean Carl Winslow,
who is also Reginald Val Johnson. Is in the movie.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah, no, he's a good sidekick. But yeah, it just has a great villain. It has Alan Rickman as one of the most charismatic villains of all time, and
I'm a damn good thief.
And it was like his breakout role too. Like after that, he became a movie star after like being 45 years old, which is really pretty awesome. Yeah.
And then he played a burned out, sick of this shit TV star in Galaxy Quest.
Well, probably the role he was meant to play was Snape. I mean, like when you think of Snape, you think of him too.
That is true. Yeah. That was a weird case where Snape was supposed to be way younger, but Alan Rickman is just so good that you don't care.
Yeah, you don't care.
Like he's not like what J.K. Rowling had in mind for Snape, but he was so good.
Harry's parents would have been like 35 or 40.
That's the thing. He's supposed to be Harry's parents' age.
Yeah, 45 at the most. at the time of the books, but
Yeah.
he was obviously in his 70s or late 60s at the time. But who cares? He's awesome.
Yeah, he's great
Um,
as the time to do
Sardonic guy.
class kind of professor.
He's great as the Metatron in Dogma. But
Oh yeah, he was the voice of God.
the voice of God, the Metatron.
I forgot that
Um,
was him. Yeah.
yeah. The second movie is very good and underrated. What is it? Ed Harris is the bad guy in that one, I think.
I don't remember the name of the guy, but Die Hard 2 is quality. Like nobody talks about it, but it's a solid movie.
Die Harder, one of the best name sequels ever.
Yeah, Die
And,
Hard 2, Die Harder. Like how am I not already watching this? Like sign me up.
but the third one is not Die Hardist because that's just dumb.
Well, that would imply an end, which we don't want.
Yeah,
Die
exactly.
Hard with a vengeance, and it was, and the title actually makes sense.
Yeah, and the third movie is up there. It's
Yeah,
really good as well.
with Jeremy Irons telling children's riddles that you might have encountered at some point.
Yeah,
How many
exactly.
were on their way to St. Ives? Ah, I've heard this one.
That I think that was the first one in the series that was meant to be a different movie, but they put like a like a Die Hard sheen on it.
Oh,
You know
that's
what I mean?
interesting. It's the
Yeah,
Star Fox dinosaur planet of the Die
exactly.
Hard movies.
Exactly, and then all the movies past that have happened like that. It's like, we just make this a Die Hard movie.
Yeah, call it
We're
Die
all
Hard.
playing
Fuck
in
it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Get Bruce
Uh,
Willis. You gotta get Bruce Willis because he's the Die Hard guy.
well, yeah. Nobody. Well, apparently the new one that they're making has like flashbacks, so it'll have like a somebody playing a young version of him, that kind of thing. But
Or maybe it'll be Phantasm 4 where they use like B-roll cut footage from like Phantasm 1 and you're like, "Oh shit, they kept that?"
yeah, I don't know
When I
about
first saw
that.
it, I was like, "How did they get that footage?" Well, they always had it.
Yeah. But just avoid the fifth one. The fifth one's just bad. But the first and the third one are gold, and two
The second
two
one was damn good.
is right there, and then four is
The
still
fourth
pretty
one is
good.
all right. It
Yes.
has its moments.
Yeah. And then any discussion that goes along with that has to have some James Cameron in here. So we got to talk about Terminator 1 and 2.
Horror movie, action movie.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I would say a lot of these movies have like multiple genres that they could be shoved into, but Terminator is a sci-fi horror
Terminator
action
is a
movie.
horror movie with action in it.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 is an action movie that can get scary.
Exactly. Um, you'd be hard pressed to find like it's hard to justify which one's better because 1 and 2 are just
That's
so
well, they're two
fucking
different.
good.
It's like Alien versus Aliens. They're
Yeah.
both great at what they do, but comparing them, even though they're directly connected, it's kind of like apples and oranges. They're two different intents.
Yeah, the first movie is really great because it just has that cat and mouse aspect of just being chased the entire time, which I absolutely love. I love like the specter of something chasing a main character.
And he's doing the Jason thing. He's not running either. In
Yeah.
Terminator 2, he runs, and that was one of the most iconic parts of the whole
yeah.
movie. By the way, was Robert Patrick like sprinting with a straight face. Like that's off-putting.
I think that they hired him based off of the way that he runs is actually pretty unusual because he had like an injury, and
Oh.
he actually has like a metal rod in one of his legs, I think. So
Wow.
he had an injury like when he was younger, so they partially hired him because he ran like a robot.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it was really really awesome, and this is going back to the Arnold stuff, but this is when Arnold's at his best is in these two movies.
He's just stone cold. Like I don't particularly care
Fuck
about
you,
anything that's in my way.
I love them. If you haven't seen them, I don't know what you're doing. But the second one's just it's so blood pumping. Like especially when they're going into Cyberdyne.
Well, also
like,
just
at
how
the end.
blunt he is when he's conveying information to the good guy. Like when both he and Robert Patrick are doing fake voices, where Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretending to be, I think, John Connor, and Robert Patrick's pretending to be his foster mom,
Yeah.
and like each robot is trying to fool the other. and then probably neither did. And then Arnold hangs up, and he's just like, "Your foster parents are dead." It's like, oh fuck, super creepy.
Friend of the show, a retro gamer from Ireland. He was he sent me a meme with Terminator 2 recently involving that scene. That was really funny.
I've seen stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
what's your favorite like Star Wars movie? Oh, the Ewok one. Like, your foster parents are dead.
Yeah, exactly. So in this version, he's just like, oh, I just got. Hey, Mom, did you pick up that NVIDIA 3080 on your way home from work? And she goes, of course I did. It's waiting right here for you.
Yeah, I got 3 of them. Like, all right, yeah.
Your stepmom's dead.
Yeah, I gotta come on.
It's so good. But yeah, it's just so good. So many iconic scenes. I really love the breakout out of the prison. Also, as for her. When Sarah Connor breaks out of the mental hospital.
Well, I particularly like Robert Patrick melting through the prison bars, but then the gun gets caught. Like, that was like that's what sold it.
Yeah.
Like the melting through, you're like, oh, computer graphics. But then when the gun gets caught and he has to finagle it through, like that made it actually believable.
It's so cool. But yeah, another James Cameron one, Aliens. Just again, one of the best movies. So good. I mean, the first Alien is one of my favorite movies ever made, and Aliens is right up there as well. And you know, the first one's a straight up action horror movie, but this one's a straight up action movie.
And honestly, that's the right decision. Like,
yeah.
And same thing with Terminator 2, because you know what the scary thing is.
Yeah.
So in the second movie, you're like, hey, it's Arnold. I'm a fan now, instead of I'm afraid of him. Same thing with the Alien. Now that you know what it looks like, oh, I can't wait to see more aliens. So it was the right decision to not try scaring you with the unknown, because it's known now.
Yeah, absolutely, so good. Especially, you know, when she gets in that in the lifter and starts fighting it like hand to hand. So good at the end of that. At the end of Aliens, it's just so good. Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, but like, get away from her, you bitch. Like, do they have to rip off Conker's Bad Fur Day?
You're making me upset. But another James Cameron one, not on our list here, but one of my favorites that I showed my wife, and she's like, damn, this movie's good. True
Titanic?
Lies. I
Oh.
love True Lies. No, like Titanic, not
Titanic
really.
is my favorite action movie.
Yeah, no, it has action elements, I guess. You could make an argument, but the only other like straight up action movies he has are like what you could count Avatar as an action.
Yeah,
movie.
I was kind of waffling on Avatar.
Yeah, but I really think that's more of a fish out of water story with action elements. But
it's True Lies, though.
True Lies,
like, give me a fucking break. Arnold is
awesome.
On a horse chasing a guy on a motorcycle through a building, jumping to another building.
I love that movie.
And I particularly like it when the horse refuses to jump, because you're like, it's an Arnold movie. Like, I was expecting the horse to try and jump in that.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck no. That was great.
It's a great parody of the genre, but also being a good entry in the genre kind of thing.
Yeah, like Hot Fuzz and
exactly.
Shaun of the Dead. They're both parodies of their respective genres, but they're legitimately good entries in those genres.
Yeah, and Bill Pullman in it. Oh my god, steals the fucking show.
I forgot he was in that.
Just a
I'm
pathetic
just used to him
character.
From Spaceballs and Independence Day.
Just a pathetic character.
Bill Pullman from The Grudge.
But yeah, I just, it's so good. I love True Lies, and it manages to be good and also have still have what's his face in it, Roseanne's ex-husband, man, what's his name?
I do not know.
Tom Arnold. I'm sorry, Tom Arnold.
Oh, okay.
Bill Paxton. I'm not Bill Pullman. I always get them confused. Bill
Paxton.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that makes a little more sense, I think.
yeah, Bill Paxton is in.
Who was also in Aliens.
He's in a
ton
of.
Bill Paxton is one of very few people to, I think, have been killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator.
Yeah, Bill Paxton's been in Terminator 1. He's the first person the Terminator kills, I think.
Yeah, like douche with like, your clothes, give them to me.
Yeah. He's one of the punk kids.
Yeah.
In the first one, he's the game over man, game
Yeah,
over
in
guy
Aliens.
in the Aliens. He's the main bad guy in the Abyss. He is the stupid used car salesman in True Lies who he just steals the fucking show. He's also, I think, one of the last movies he made before he passed away was Live Die Repeat, the Edge of
Oh,
Tomorrow
okay.
movie, which is quite awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard the movie's actually pretty good.
It's Groundhog Day, but an action movie, which is
And
awesome.
done intentionally.
Yeah,
Like, it's not like What Is Happening to Me. Like, the repeat is the point.
yeah, that movie is really really good. It's surprisingly really works with that formula. There actually several movies have worked well with that formula. You have the Happy Death Day movies
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
both of them.
Yeah, the second one, kind of like we were talking about, is basically a parody of the first one.
Yeah,
So
where she's just happily killing herself in, like, stupid, convoluted ways.
yeah, well, it's like, man, the conceit of that first movie was stupid. Want to explore how stupid it was, and the characters know how stupid it was.
Yeah, it was like, it's like Gremlins 2.
Or Crank 2, which is
Oh
also
my
what I wanted to
god.
get to.
Crank 2 is the best movie ever made.
So Crank 1 is a fantastic action movie. They really did a cool thing making that movie. It was,
And it's also, like, stupid and absurd, but Crank 2 is like a parody of that.
yeah. So Crank 1 was made on a shoestring budget, and they basically it was made guerrilla style. So they would buy like a camera at Best Buy at the time, which weren't like high end cameras or whatever, because like usually
Yeah, they're alright.
it was a movie, the kind of movie those kinds of movies were usually made with like big expensive
Yeah.
professional cameras that you can't buy at a place like that. But they would just go in there, buy one, and then trash it while by filming an action sequence that would like go off the rails. Like they would be on skateboards, like following him and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and filming some of it like guerrilla style, just like running down the street, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that movie looked pretty brutal to film.
Yeah, but they had a blast doing it, and of course, in the second one, they have a ton more. They have a ton more resources to deal with, and it's one of the best like experiences. But you have to watch the first one because it just it's a funhouse mirror version of the first
Yeah,
movie.
like he needs to maintain a certain level of something in the second movie that's not the same as what he had to maintain in the first level, and it's like stupider.
And they're like, okay, how are they going to bring this character back? He's dead. Oh, he just has a twin brother that we didn't talk about.
That's so good.
He's exactly the same character, but he has like
It's fine.
he has Tourette's though.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, the guy with wasn't
It's like
oh,
sidekick.
yeah, wasn't that guy like Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, he was like the sidekick. Of
He's just like doing like spontaneous like martial arts and like kind of being a threat.
uh, and up there again with ridiculous movie. This is like these are comedy action films, but they're still just a blast to watch. I really love Shoot 'Em Up. Is also in that same kind of
Yeah, that was
genre.
a riot.
Shoot 'Em Up was, before there was a Max Payne movie, this was like almost like a Max Payne kind of movie, but like with a very similar character. But it is straight up Looney Tunes, and it knows
Like,
it.
well, yeah, and guns do everything. He's like, throwing switches by shooting them and bullshit like that.
They also allude to him being Bugs Bunny and
Multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. And Paul
I think his
Giamatti
first
being
line
Elmer
is
Fudd.
"What's up, Doc?"
Yeah, exactly. And he carries around carrots. It's so on the nose. It's so funny. The best part, he does all kinds of things with a bullet, but with bullets that he shouldn't be doing. But in the very first scene is like one of the best things. He cuts an umbilical cord with
Oh yeah,
with bullets with a bullet.
yeah, guns do everything.
He shoots off bullets by putting them in his hand and getting them close to a hand dryer. Or no, it was a fire. It was a
Yeah,
fire.
that's like that's like Vulcan in Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, fireplace. So funny. Uh, it is such a delight. I saw it in the theater, and if you like kind of like send offs, just like Hot Fuzz, it's a love letter to everything you've seen, but it's also poking so much fun at it. But it has some legitimate, awesome, fun action scenes in it. And I also I can't believe I forgot this, but the Matrix, the first Matrix movie, was such a revelation. No, not pun
Yeah.
intended. But I loved the original Matrix, and I still love it to this day. I think it's one of the best movies ever made, and it's just so good. Um, what can you say about a movie that pioneered things, bullet time as a technique, and it wasn't the first movie to have it in it, but it used it heavily and to great effect. And also a movie that holds on to its like plot points like close to its chest until very late into the movie, which is like the intro to and the wonder of what's happening is one of the best things about the movie. It really holds on to that secret that they are, not it. They are in a simulated world,
Well, I
for
mean they
a long time.
well, I mean they tell you that when he wakes up in the Nebuchadnezzar, that's not exactly Endgame.
No, but it takes a while to get there. Is my point.
Yeah, it does take some time. Yes,
Um,
I particularly like the escape the office building sequence
yeah,
when
that's
he's
quite
getting
good.
guided by the phone,
Yeah,
because that was cool because you didn't know what the agents were capable of, for the most part, and he didn't know what they were going to do if they caught him, and it's just like I should leave. And
and
how does the guy on the phone know how to tell me to direct? Like, how does he know what their paths are?
one of the best action sequences of all time is that the lobby scene. I fucking love the lobby
So
scene.
good that it's a level in perfect dark.
Yeah, it's that lobby scene, and then moving all the way up into rescuing
Yeah,
Morpheus.
Morpheus.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Also, despite the second movie being super exposition heavy and long winded, shout out to that entire highway chase scene. That is the craziest thing. Like, that's one of the craziest action scenes I've ever seen.
Oh, it's great. Those sequels, upon viewing them a lot later, with the exception of the very heavy CG elements that should not be CG, like the Smith fight. Um,
I
I
like this. What you mean, like the in the second movie, the
in the
bunch of
second movie,
Smiths?
yeah, yeah.
Because the third one that was Dragon Ball Z, I was not into that, but I like the Smith fight in the second movie.
I like it, but I think they could have done better with practical effects. Honestly, um, I think they could have done it without the CG.
Yeah, but would they have had the bowling ball sound when he threw the Smith into the other Smiths if they had done that more practically? Riddle me that.
I'm not ruling you
That's
anything.
one thing. I'm like, why did you do that?
Uh, it's like when Dennis Nedry slips, he has that like banana peel sound when it happens in
Oh,
Jurassic
I
Park.
forgot about that.
Yeah, it happens. It's like weep,
Or
that.
in I think it's The Man with the Golden Gun, one of those older Bond movies, where he drives a car off a ramp that's twisted in a certain way, so the car actually corkscrewed in the jump in real life and lands on a similarly curvy ramp properly. It's like the greatest stunt ever done, but they play a fucking slide whistle over it, like,
Ooh.
and you're like,
Oh.
oh, dude, really?
Ruin it. You ruin it. That's terrible. That makes me think of the Transporter 2, but it's a lot less goofy when he takes the bomb off the bottom of the car by doing a
Oh yeah,
corkscrew.
yeah. It was that kind of jump, except yeah, he like caught a hook that perfectly caught the bot. That I mean, that was just funny to me because that whole movie was a joke. Like my favorite part, I think, in the entire movie is when he's running through a plane, maybe, and people are shooting at him, and he like there's one part where he literally jukes a couple times to dodge bullets. Like that was just
Can't dodge
hilarious. Like, come on, like get the fuck out of here.
Well,
Transporter One was like he's
grounded in
overpowered, but it's
reality.
not like a cartoon. It's like it's unbelievable, but it's not a cartoon. Transporters 2 was a cartoon.
Transporter 1 even had a famous scene from like the commercial that was actually cut out of it, where he deflects a missile with like a like a metal like
Yeah, that's
serving
something I
plate.
think that would have been more at home in Transporter 2.
Yeah,
Just
but
bullshit.
they took it out of the movie because they're like that's fucking ridiculous, and they're like, oh, we know what we're doing
Well,
in the
yeah,
second
like
movie.
that really would not have gelled with the first movie. Like
Yeah,
it's like a step too far. But in the second movie, who cares? It's funny.
yeah, yeah. I actually love the Transporter movies. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Just like I like a lot of Jason Statham movies. Honestly, he does a good job. I've been a fan of his ever since Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch.
yeah, I've seen
Um,
Lock, Stock, quite a fun movie. I've not seen Snatch.
Snatch is basically a sequel to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and it's a spiritual successor. You know,
Sure, sure,
it's
sure.
the same kind of movie, same kind of plot, but it has a lot more money, and it has Pitt in it. You know, it has some heavy hitter actors in it, and Brad Pitt is awesome in it. So it's absolutely worth um, watching. In fact, it's one of those where you go, man, I don't need to watch Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels anymore because Snatch is so good. You know,
Sure.
it's because it's basically the same thing, but in a slightly different way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm interested in hearing what you had to say. You said before we started recording that you only don't know haven't seen two of these. What are the two you haven't seen?
Oh, on the list that you've put up here,
Yeah.
the only two movies that you have written down on this set of movies we were talking about, I have not seen Police Story. I've seen a couple
Oh,
of small clips on YouTube of like cool stunts,
yeah.
and I have not seen Escape from New York.
Okay. Um, you should absolutely see both of them. You would love both of them. I have a feeling. But Police Story is Jackie Chan's like first really big budget
Yeah, yeah.
action movie. His first hit is the Drunken Master movie, the first one.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I've seen both Drunken Master movies. They are brilliant in
both of
their
them
own
are
ways.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Both of them are fantastic. I'm
The
not putting
final fight
any.
in the second movie is fucking
Oh,
ridiculous. It's
in the
like 8 or 9
Foundry.
minutes.
Yeah, in the Foundry. So
Yeah,
good.
against like the most masterful kicker like, ever.
Yeah,
Guy
but
who kicks.
Police Story, is a Jackie Chan movie where he doesn't use a lot of like martial arts because it's mostly gunplay, um, at foot. But the acrobatics that he uses in the first two Police Stories are like at his height of the
Well,
stunts
that
that
that's
he's
the
ever
thing.
done.
Yeah, he's like jumping through windows and stuff like that, or like, wasn't there that one scene in one of the
Hmm.
movies where he like severely injured himself in real life doing
Yeah.
this, but when he slid down all the like electric like light bulbs and shit, the sparks were flying everywhere.
Yeah, so that's considered like one of the most dangerous stunts that's ever been performed, and he walked away from it.
Yeah, same
He got
goes for the
injured, but he
Foundry scene
walked
in the
away.
Drunken Master, by the way, where he actually jumped backwards into like glowing hot fucking coals. Like,
Hmm.
who the fuck? Like, you didn't have to do that, dude.
Yeah, he got really terribly burned when he filmed that scene. But it
Oh,
was so
you could plainly
perfect.
see in the movie, like it was brutal.
Well, I'm talking about in Police Story.
Oh
He
yes,
got
yes,
severely burned during that, and
yeah. That looked rough.
Um, but it is fantastic. You can clear other there have only been a few other scenes that are like are in that even in that category, and one of them is like the Buster Keaton one where like
The
the
house falls
whole
around
wall
him.
falls around him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I cannot believe the balls on the
Yeah, he's doing
cojones on
stuff like
him.
he's hanging from like a sign while a car's passing underneath him, and he has to land on it, and like just unreasonable shit.
Yeah. But I absolutely recommend Police Story because it used to be that a lot of Jackie Chan's movies used to get like so cut up when they came to the United States. Like
Yeah.
if you watch a lot of the ones that were released in the '90s to the United States, they're always cut terribly, and they also have a lot of dubbing over them because that was the style of the time.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that actually. This isn't really much, or at least as much of a thing anymore.
Hmm.
But like old kung fu movies were like just like a
Almost
joke.
universally. Yeah,
a joke inherently, where people would like make fun of them by saying something and then moving their mouth
exactly.
5 more times without any words coming out because the overdub was just like nobody cares. It's what the script says. Here you go. Here's your line. But there's the matching up is awful and the actors don't sound
Yeah,
like they're really acting, like they don't sound very
exactly.
natural in the movies. So
Bad
everybody makes
dubbing.
fun of the kung fu
Yeah,
movies themselves, but it's not the kung fu movies. It's the localizers.
yeah.
The
So
only thing you could really joke about for the kung fu movies themselves is that everyone in China is a kung fu master in
yeah,
every
but
movie.
it's really a shame because like some of the those movies beg to be taken seriously because
Yeah,
Police Story is one of the 1 and 2 are fantastic. There's a lot of entries in that series. I
there's like
think
at least four, right?
there are 5 or 6 now.
Huh.
So there are 4 in the like original, um, it goes Police Story 1 and 2. They weren't renamed, and then the third one's called Super Cop here, um, and
Oh
they
yeah, that was the thing in in Hot Fuzz. We're just looking at the video.
yeah,
Meet the cop who can't be stopped. It's freaking great.
and the fourth one is like you wouldn't even know it was related unless somebody told you and you
Okay.
watched it. But it's called Jackie Chan's First Strike.
Okay.
And that one in particular is really heavily edited, and you can't find like an English subtitled like intact version of that in the United States. It really sucks that that time period really dominated those movies, and it hasn't been restored since. I think it might be a Miramax or it might be one of those Weinstein movies that like hasn't been released yet. Kind of like Kevin Smith's a lot of Kevin Smith's movies. He doesn't have the rights to. Miramax does, and
Yeah.
as a result of Weinstein's. So like he's almost dead in jail, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of complicated rights issues due to that situation. So. And it's unfortunate because some of the best movies, like the defining movies of the '90s, came from Miramax.
Yeah.
Like Scream, like tons of movies from that era were all put out by Miramax. So it's kind of a shame. But yeah, you have I really wanted to talk about Police Story because the first 2 movies have a Criterion collection that just came out, and they're really really great, and they're all restored and they look beautiful, and obviously sound good. So just up there. I also have in here since this is kind of in a similar wheelhouse with the martial arts kind of stuff. The Raid. You've seen this one, right?
Yeah, you showed me this one a while back at Luminaire's place. That movie is fantastic, and that is an Indonesian movie, I believe.
Yeah, actually, an Indonesian movie directed by a Welshman.
Huh.
Yeah.
That
Living
movie's
in
nuts.
Indonesia.
That's like a video game movie. Like fight your way up the building.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Die Hard in reverse. Like it kind of like, eh. It has a similar conceit in that there are sections of the building that they need to get through, and it's really good. Um,
Yes, the choreography in that movie is nuts.
there is a particular henchman that's like basically the arch
Oh, the
villain.
Mad Dog
Yeah,
guy.
Mad Dog. That is
Yeah, he
that fight.
was. I think he was like a stuntman at
Yeah.
first, but then they were like, "This guy is really awesome. Like,
So
let's give him an actual role."
they just made him the main bad guy that and like the penultimate fight is like the best fight in the movie. Just like
It
in a
is
lot of video
crazy.
games. Where the 2 of them just like fucking go at it.
They beat the 3 of them in the
Oh,
final. In that
3, yeah,
fight.
yeah, you're right, you're right.
It's him versus 2 guys, and it is a pretty fair fight. They
It
beat the shit out of each other.
it is awesome. You don't see a lot of movies coming out of Indonesia either, and it's just like it's such a treat because you get to see like what the projects look in Indonesia, like this gigantic building full of like really dilapidated weirdo apartments.
Yeah.
They don't have like central like gas piping, so they like have everybody has like a propane tank under their.
Oh yeah, that was a key scene in one of the parts of the movie. Yeah.
Exactly. So, what's so neat about a movie like this is like you see a realistic environment, and they use all of the stuff that would be in that realistic environment as part of the action, which is
Well, not
so
only
cool.
that, but one thing I also like that I don't know if it's necessarily realistic, but I can see it being believable is how the villain defends himself
Hmm.
because he has his goons, but like this isn't the Nakatomi
Yeah, he
Plaza
has a
where like
stronghold.
they need a whole army to take over like a building that you don't own. This guy owns the building. He has some goons, but like it's just a slummy apartment complex. This isn't like a fortress and was never meant to be.
Hmm.
So how does he get more goons to defend him
Yeah,
and have this
very
be
creative.
a movie length movie? When the cops come in, he's like, hey, whoever can kill off at least one of these cops just gets free rent for life. And everyone's like, oh really? I'm like, oh
Exactly.
fuck.
Yeah, yeah. So you have like all kinds of drug addicts that hate cops to begin with, like
Yeah, yeah,
come out of the
yeah.
woodwork,
Like,
and
I don't think I could win, but if I do.
yeah, exactly, exactly. These are desperate people in desperate times. Yeah. So awesome, awesome, awesome movie. It does have a good sequel. It's not nearly as good as the first one, but it's still very good. It
I
has
still haven't seen that one, the second
the
one.
sequel is very good, and but it doesn't have that dynamic. It's not it has some great fight scenes and has basically two badass characters coming going around that are his arch nemesis in that
Sure.
one, but it's not in that enclosed space that creates all that tension. That enclosed
Okay.
area, that enclosed space where it limits what you can do, as well as like the environment changes that constantly are happening in the first one. Just are is so much fun, and the tension that it has of being hunted down, even though you're a cop, is just so
Yeah.
cool. Absolutely recommend that one. And I mean, we're hitting up on our time limits here, but
Yeah, we could continue this discussion next time, I think, because
yeah,
we've only gone through about half the list anyway.
yeah, we've gone through half the list. Plus, I'm sure I didn't give you much notice on this. I'm sure you could think of some as well that
Yeah,
you want
why
to bring
not?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
so
only that, but some of the movies you've mentioned, none of which we've gone into detail on, are subversions of their respective genres as well.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, we can move on to fan stuff here, Lotus.
All right, well, I'll be quick. We actually don't have any comments this week,
Weird.
so I'm gonna move on.
Living
And now
Corpse,
we,
not even a one from Living Corpse or
yeah,
any
not
of our
this time,
buddies.
not this
Yeah.
time. All right, but we do have a question, and this is the very last one. So here we go. So Less Listened Audios asks, if you could pick a song or music track that would represent you or have as a theme for yourself, what would you pick? For me, I would have the Marshalling Yard second half from Resident Evil 2. I'm trying to remember what that one was. And that game did have a very good soundtrack. I'm wondering if it's that like I'm not 100% on that one, but Resident Evil 2's got just like a million classic tracks, but I don't remember what room is where.
This is an
Yeah,
interesting question. I like it.
for me, I would think it would depend on my mood.
Yeah,
Like, I wouldn't say
absolutely.
this is always my theme. It's some badass theme when I feel like shit today. Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I could imagine there are probably some Hotline Miami tunes that I could see myself listening to
Ooh,
a
yeah.
whole bunch. But then, like, oh, but wait, I've been playing Nier recently, and the Nier soundtrack really resonates with me. So maybe the Wretched Automatons or that. Like, it's tough. There's a lot of really good tracks.
The one that immediately comes to mind is while we are at Magfest, or when we used to be at Magfest.
No, we might be able to pull it off next time.
Well, if it exists.
Yeah,
But yeah. So there are free arcade machines set up, and one of my favorite. My favorite arcade game of all time is, and you know this well, it's Donkey Kong 3, which is an unusual choice. But um,
that's right. That's right. What was your for a second? I was thinking something different, but I remember that was like a runner-up. Like, what's your number two? Like Frenzy?
Frenzy's up there, but I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't put it up there with it. I actually
Okay.
think the original Galaga is really high up there
Okay.
for me. Believe it or not, I err on the simpler games as my
Sure.
favorites because I feel like
Well, because you can't go wrong with them. Put in a quarter, play for like 30 minutes, come back. Like
It's also the
it's like
mastering
Isaac. You could
potential.
keep coming back to it. Yeah.
It's also the mastering potential of them. You have to sit down and really know certain games in order to be good at them and to chase high scores in them.
Sure.
And I really know Donkey Kong 3 really well inside and out. And I would say that and there are usually like 3 or 4 other people that also play that game there. And we all are fighting each other for the high score
Oh,
every
that
single
yeah,
year.
that's right. Yeah.
Every single year. But as you can imagine, when you get into high level play of an arcade game, it takes a while to get there. To get up to 500,000 points or something like that. In Donkey Kong 3, you'll probably be sitting there for well over the average person's playtime at that
Well, yeah, they're
cabinet.
arcade machines. You're supposed to give up after like 20 minutes or something,
Exactly.
and the next kid plays. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like nobody expects you to be what's his name from King of Kongs. He plays for
exactly.
like days. Like, oh fuck you.
Yeah, Steve Weeby.
No, the other guy, the guy with the controversy.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, yeah, that guy. But
Well, I should know
Billy,
this.
Billy
Yes, Billy Mitchell.
Mitchell,
Yes.
yeah, Billy Mitchell. Fuck that guy. But anyway, when I play this game, to amp myself up and keep myself going, I put on a really intense song, and this is what came to mind when this came up.
It's like Fry. Like I got my Shasta,
It-
I got my Rush mix CD.
all Rush mixtape. It's Saturday night, right?
Yeah,
I got
mixtape,
no
yeah.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great because Twitter has there's been a recent trend on Twitter of having like very context sensitive like days of the week, like accounts that just post on that day.
Oh yeah, I've seen you retweet a couple times
Yeah.
the Killer 7
Yeah.
with Kunlan.
It's
It's
Friday.
Friday night. Let's dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
There's the one from Russian Doll, which is a show on Netflix. It's really great with Natasha Lyonne saying "It's Thursday, what a concept." So
Okay.
I repost that one every Thursday.
I suppose you could do a bunch of National Lampoon movies with "See You Next Wednesday."
Well, oh yeah, nice. Maybe or the
Like
camel.
you're fucking my girlfriend or whatever. No, like, this is somebody else. Oh, my mistake.
Sorry.
And then the scene just continues.
or the camel from like the Geico commercials. That would be a good one for Wednesday.
Oh
Hump
yeah,
Day.
it's Hump Day.
Yeah, but they also have one where on Saturday Night Live they had Daniel Craig on one time, and he introduces the band, the guy,
Oh.
The Weeknd. But
Yeah.
it's funny.
It's the weekend.
Yeah, The Weeknd.
He gets all excited about the weekend. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Exactly. So they'll play that on Friday night, and then there's on Saturday night it's the Fry one, right? And Billy.
There's also potential for one of those gorilla songs from Humans. I forgot the lyrics, but like dun, dun,
Friday,
dun,
Saturday night. Yeah, trance.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is trance. It's
Yeah.
like the best song on that album too.
Oh, it's amazing. It's one of their best songs in general.
Yeah.
But Billy West also reacts to the Saturday Night Fry one almost every
that's
week
great.
now, so it's great. He's just like, he's like, I don't need anything else but my Shasta. It's just like so funny. But
Do you know Fry? I don't know. I never met the guy.
Billy West is awesome. What a cool guy. But I out of so when I play this, I play a Justice song when I play Donkey Kong 3 to get into the groove, because you
Mhm.
really need to get into a groove to play well. You can't think much. You just need to
Yeah.
react.
It just becomes the body over the mind.
Exactly.
I can't
Because
say muscle memory, but like kind of.
the game gets so hard that if you're thinking, you're going to die.
Yeah, you're taking too long.
Yeah, exactly. You just need to feel the game, and so I'll play Planisphere by Justice, which is like one of the best electronic songs ever made. If you ask me, it's like a 12-minute, like almost prog rock esque song by Justice, which is a French house band, kind of similar to Daft Punk style. And I absolutely love their music, and but like this like planisphere while I'm playing. It's like it's rocking out for like
you just feels right.
for 12
Actually,
minutes straight. Yeah.
regarding electronic rock, you know what I particularly like is there's a couple tracks from System Shock 2. Just the basic Medsci theme, which gets weirdly intense, and this is gonna piss me off because I forgot what the location is called. Maybe the nacelles or something. It's the area when you're in those like radioactive areas where like those long tube like corridors where you
See,
gotta like shut
I've
off the
never,
radiation.
I haven't played System Shock 2 yet, to my
Yeah,
embarrassment.
that music gets like delightfully intense. It's a lot of fun. Um, again, I mentioned near stuff depending if I'm in a super melancholy mood or whatever. There's also the Binding of Isaac Rebirth theme when you fight Isaac himself in the cathedral. That's like this delightfully epic theme that's just fun. I don't know if that necessarily represents me, but like I can listen to this a
I have
while.
the perfect song to represent you, Lotus.
I just wanna play video games. Everything else is really lame.
Yeah.
That's the one.
No, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass's Spanish Fleet.
Oh, that's that one. Da, 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 da. Like
Yeah,
that one.
exactly. Done.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell for sure. What? Or maybe something from like again, this doesn't necessarily represent me, but like tracks that mean a bunch to me because I grew up with them,
Sure.
like something from like Streets of Rage 2 or something. Like,
Go straight, man. Go straight.
yeah, go straight. This is probably too intense, and I would want to shut it off after a little bit. But like Expander, when you're on the elevator,
Oof, love it.
that one just punches you right off the bat. Um,
I love
Sonic the Hedgehog 1's Scrap Brain Zone is kind of a banger. It's weirdly
the boss
like
theme.
an intimidating track.
The boss theme in Sonic 1 is like one of my favorites.
The melancholy,
yeah.
but Scrap Brain just hits me with that beat, like da na 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 na.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
and the entire level is evil and wants you dead, and enemies are like they're there, but they're kind of incidental. The level itself is fucking scary.
Streets of Rage 1's the boat theme is one of my favorites.
Yeah, Beatnik on the ship. I love that
I
track.
love that track.
That one is fantastic. Also, again, the first level's theme. Like the Go Straight equivalents, like whatever level 1's theme is called, I forgot, but that's also very good. I also like the elevator, that do 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 do. The Mr. X fight in either version, because the second one calls back to the first one.
Yeah. No,
I also like
fantastic.
Shiva's fight theme, Max Man.
Oh,
That like do 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 do.
everything in 2, honestly.
I know.
2 is like one of the best.
Probably like the
soundtracks
only
ever.
track that I could just skip in 2. It's not even that bad in context because it's intentionally like a monotonous level. It's when you're on home plate in the stadium and you're going down that super long elevator to the underground fight. That music's like more ambient than like a tune. So when you hear it in the car, it's like, but like in the game, it works better.
Yeah, I think we had some really good picks here because like like they have to exemplify like moments in my life, that kind of thing, and
Yeah, there are certain things you just latched onto at the time, like the Hellsing TV series' opening theme. Remember that?
one of the tracks in Half-Life 2 is one of my favorites as well.
Half-Life 2's got some bangers.
Yeah, and it's really best in context, I guess. But
well, yeah, because the game doesn't have music everywhere, so when something kicks in, it's like punctuation. You know this is significant. So like you're getting an adrenaline rush, not even necessarily because the track's so good, although it is, but because it's significant. Like, oh, something's gonna happen, and like the boat chase scene, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm calling back to is the boat chase scene. I mean,
Yeah,
the boat chase
God.
Scene is just
that scene's fantastic.
I
remember I flipped out when I learned that you had to go up the ramp and turn and go down the other side of the ramp, like out of the water, because you have enough momentum to make it happen. I was like, this is nuts. Like, this game's too good.
So good.
Also, I got into this one later, but the Black Lagoon anime opening theme.
I need to see that show.
Freaking banger. It's great.
I need to see that show.
That show's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the one with the pirates, right?
It's called Lagoon, but it depends on your interpretation of pirates. I would
It's
say
like the
probably not.
badass like girl on the ship, like
Yeah,
shooting
they have a
people.
bow. Yeah, I get they're kind of, I
I
guess,
thought they're
but
pirates.
yeah. Like the redhead with two guns, who's
Yeah,
just like the biggest badass ever, and like the former Japanese businessman who like is not a fighter in any sense of the word, but he's he's got useful skills for these people and he gets along with them surprisingly well considering he's just like a guy in a button up white collar shirt. Like what the fuck are you even? It's great because when they first meet, they try to outdrink each other, and this girl's like a total badass, and she's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like I'm Marion from Indiana Jones. Like I'm at bars all the time. I'm a fucking punk. And the guy's like, yeah, but like I'm a Japanese businessman, and like they each give each other a lot of trouble with the drinking contest because he surprisingly can hold his alcohol very well because like to an American it's like this guy, but to Japan everybody was probably like yeah. Just amused me.
well, sometimes my life though is melancholy, and it's the real folk blues from Cowboy Bebop.
Mm.
You know.
For melancholy, I would go with the wretched automatons from original Nier, or even Shadowlord's theme, which has multiple messages going on in it. Um, for relaxation, I might even say like the Coast Towns theme. I forgot what it's called, something Coast, Seaside or whatever. That's like the most laid back theme like ever. It's
Yeah.
just like super sweet. Undertale's got some bangers too. There's obviously the what's the name of that song that was a meme? The Sans fight theme. Megalovania. That was a
Oh
meme
yeah,
for,
yeah.
for years for good reason. when they teased his like his me in Smash, and they're like, also we're getting that tune, and everyone's like, what? That was the greatest. I didn't think they'd actually use it.
Yeah. Oh man, such good stuff.
Yeah, and Automata, I love Automata's. It's called Alien something for Automata. Alien Manifestation. That track, that like do 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 do, like it's one of the first tracks you hear when you're on foot, because the game opens with a shooter section when you're like a ship. When you first get on foot though, and it's like you need to get to the end of this dungeon, and that theme's playing, you're like, oh man, like I've only just started playing, but I know whatever's gonna happen is gonna be a big deal.
Amazing. Well, I picked all the ones that I can think of that represent me at a given moment or given time. How
Yeah,
about
just like a
you?
vibe. I'm
Yeah,
probably good. We need a bunch of tunes.
absolutely. Well, we need we
Sexualizer from Hotline Miami for driving at night, by the way.
and anything from Hotline Miami,
Oh, Hotline
really.
Miami too. But
Mo-
yeah, but drive fast at night and play Sexualizer. You will thank me later.
Basically anything from Perturbator
Yeah. Oh my
or
God, what a
Moon
freaking champion. Yeah.
or
Yeah. Or
Moon.
yeah.
Moon's my favorite.
Moon. Yeah.
I,
Yeah. Well, Moon did Hydrogen. Like
Hydrogen's like
Sexualizer has more like traditional like but synthwave style music, and Moon has like very repetitive vibes that get into your head and stay there. Like Hydrogen, like the
one of my
entire
favorite songs
track
ever.
is like do 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 do, like that's it. That's the track. That's the track, and it's still the best track in the game.
I was gonna say if you wanted to pick a track that like exemplified the entire soundtrack of that entire game, it would
It's
be that
Hydrogen hands
song.
down. Although, well, there are a couple of other tracks that are that rival it.
Yeah, but
But Hydrogen's probably the main one.
it's
And
so
to be
good.
fair, that's not literally the track. Like they add drums, they add stuff to it, but like that's like what do you call that kind of music? I forgot what you even call that. Where you take like a basic tune and repeat it forever, but like add to it.
It's like a wave song, like a synth wave song, but like it like
Perturbator's more obviously synthwave though.
it,
Like
it,
trance, I don't know.
it's like a dark wave though. Like it is such a grimy song when you listen to it.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
realize that you're killing people to this, you're like, yeah, it fits better than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain how a song feels mean spirited when it doesn't have any like lyrics at all, but it does.
Yeah,
It
no,
sounds
there are certain tracks that
grimy.
are. Yeah, like, well, actually, this is something I never really thought about, but I'd heard about from, I mean, I've heard the song, but I heard discussion about it from Todd of the Shadows, the music reviewer. You know how you associate a lot of, like, I forgot if this was 60s or 70s, but I want to say 60s music with, like, the Beatles and, like, drug-influenced stuff like that, but there's, like, a floaty kind of vibe to it. But like then you have in the Garden of Eden, which is like when you hear the lyrics, you're like, okay, but like the instrumental part sounds like angrier than you might remember. Like
I
a
love
dun
that.
dun 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 dun, dun. And when it goes into that like several minute long like solely instrumental part,
Yeah,
it's just like crashing of sounds. You're like, okay, geez, sorry.
yeah, the organ, the organ
Yeah,
solo
yeah. Well,
is so
by the
good.
way, that was one thing that I didn't get at first when I saw The Simpsons do that. Like, we have a new hymn to play. It's called "In the Garden of Eden" by Iron Butterfly. But the part that I didn't get is when the track was over, the organist like passed out, and I didn't realize that was like an 8 or 9 minute song where it's just solely instrumentals for like several minutes, and the people in the congregation just had to sit there and wait for like multiple minutes while the organist is just like going nuts. Like I thought she passed out because the song was intense or something. I didn't realize it was like super long and intense. So she just like dies at the end of the track. That was great.
So good. Dun 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 dun.
Crash. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny just on a surface level, but I didn't realize that song takes forever. Like, no wonder she passed out. And she's this, like,
good.
little old lady
So good.
playing this, like, angry 60s.
I just love that she does it though.
Yeah, she's, like, an expert just immediately. Oh, music? Okay, I can play this perfectly. Nobody told me about this until just now, but I guess I'll do it. And the whole congregation is singing, like, in tune and everything. They know what to do. It was fantastic.
All right.
Nobody ever said, "Wait a minute, this song's super famous from decades ago."
We do need to have a close to
Yes.
our discussion here, but I had a blast talking about this. I want to thank you for this question. This was really good.
Mm-hmm. And remember, I said this when we introed, but we are out of questions now. So if anybody has any, please feel free to send them in.
Also, don't make me comment on our own videos because I will. Just to have
What was
them
your
right
favorite
on
part
here.
about last week's question? Oh, I like the part where I talked about this, and then I just talk about it again.
Vysethebold, what's your favorite food? Mine is.
I don't know. It's like One Cut of the Dead. So, do you have any hobbies? Just like anything to fill the dead air.
Oh, I love One Cut of the Dead. So good. What a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions and comments. No, you didn't. You did not do that. Please keep us supplied.
We did half of those things.
with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. Please do it. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesdays for our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, where we will react to something that happens immediately after we stop recording.
Yeah.
A week later.
Too real. Did you know that thing you already knew about is now being said by us 6 days later?
Yeah, but
Cool.
it's about the discussion. It's not about the news
I mean,
topics.
obviously we're not breaking these stories because we have to learn about them from the people who actually broke them.
Exactly.
Like, we're not in the industry. Like, get the hell out of here.
No, we're just talking about it for shits and gigs. Finally, you can friend me as Vysethebold on pretty much anything, and do not forget to send me a DM explaining who you are. I say this a lot, but like so many people friend me, and and a lot of them are like, "Hey, I want to be your girlfriend." Like, please give me PSN
really?
points.
Golly.
Please give me your PSN points.
What a coincidence. I've been looking for a girlfriend. This is perfect.
It's like, first of all, no, you don't.
So many girlfriends.
Second of all, married. All right. So anyway, go ahead, Lotus.
Oh, yeah. I also have an outro. You could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, like the wrap-up of Obscure or more Dark Souls 3, getting in an exclusive live streams, I'm recording this on Monday, so even though I've already discovered what I'm going to play next, at the time of this recording, I don't know what I'm going to play next. So if you remember what I was playing yesterday, it's that. that's the game that I'm playing. Selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, wrapping up that aforementioned Obscure, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/Lotus Prince.
Awesome. Well, we will talk to you again with our dulcet tones on next Tuesday.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.